Come on in. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Whew, I am so excited to be doing this webinar and presenting such a wonderful webinar to you all in regards to self care and how to pour from a full cup. We are going to get into it today, and it's so relevant, so needed, and I know many of you can attest to pouring from an empty cup, but today we're going to get into why and the importance of pouring from a full cup. We're going to run down and give you some practical strategies on how you can implement things immediately, on how to really start pouring from a full cup instead of pouring from an empty cup. Okay. And so, just so you can have a little bit of background of who I am, my name is Crystal Williams. I am the resident career coach for Career Chasers. Career Chasers is my community of women, professional women, that is, who are looking to elevate within their career journey strategically. Okay. And so they are not putting the limits on their career. They're taking the limits off of their career and saying, yes, I can go and elevate and do what I have to do whatever God has called me to do in my career journey. And I'm going to go forth and conquer and do it in excellence. Okay. All right. So Career Chasers is that community. The U Brand Academy is the umbrella that Career Chasers falls under. Okay. And so a little bit about me. I am a former corporate girly turned career coach. And I used to work as a IT auditor, used to work as an auditor in the finance and accounting field, and we used to work as an IT consultant as well for top companies such as Deloitte, Ernst& Young, and the government as well. And so fell in love with really coaching people, really helping people navigate their workspaces and navigating on how to strategically elevate within their career journey, and said, I really could make this into a business. So, of course, invested in myself, hired a business coach, went to school, did all the things I had to do. And here I am today as a career coach, teaching men and women on how to strategically elevate in their career journey. And so, my channel, the YouTube channel, the U Brand Academy, of course, we do things a little bit different. We teach from a Christian lens on how to elevate strategically in your career journey. And so that is what we're going to be doing. Everything that I present to you, we're going to be teaching you from a Christian lens. And so today, our topic of choice is self care. Self care, how to pour from a full cup, and really moving from exhaustion to overflow. How many of you all want to move from exhaustion to overflow? Hello, hello, hello. How many of you all want to move from exhaustion to overflow? If you want to move from exhaustion to overflow, please put in the comment section for me, overflow, overflow, overflow. All right. So let's jump into it, my friends. Put in the chat for me where you are joining us from. I am actually joining you from the US of A. I know this channel is very global, and I teach and educate people from all sorts of backgrounds. So just want to get a little bit, okay, hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining in. All right, so let's get into it. It is. So, like I was saying, I want to welcome you today. So, this section is called Self Care, How to Pour from a Full Cup. And it's all about moving from exhaustion to overflow. Some of you have already shared that, yes, you definitely want to move from exhaustion to overflow. And hopefully, today, this presentation would definitely help you see how you can strategically do just that. And so I'm here on behalf of my organization, Career Chasers. And today we're going to talk honestly about what it means to take care of yourself in a world that constantly asks you to give more, do more, and be more. Okay. And so my hope is that by the end of this session, you'll feel lighter, clearer, and more empowered to protect your energy, to protect your self care, and most importantly, protect your well being. Okay. All right. So let's go on to the next slide. All right. So the reality check, or AKA also known as the why. Why are we even here? So let's start with the truth, the plain, flat out truth, the why behind this conversation that we're going to have today, the conversation of moving from exhaustion within our careers to overflow within our career journeys. Okay. So, according to the American Psychological Association, Black women or professional women report higher levels of psychological distress and superwomen role strain. Okay. And that pressure isn't just emotional, it's linked to higher cortisol levels and increased cardiovascular risk. Okay. And so some of you may be asking, what's cortisol levels? So that is your stress levels, my friends. That's your stress levels. And so we as women feel as though we have a little bit more pressure on us to perform and do all those things. And there's also increased cardiovascular risk. And what is that? That is heart problems. And so we often wear our busyness like a badge of honor. I know for myself, I used to wear busyness like a badge of honor. You may have heard people say, "Oh, I'm booked and busy. I got a super, super busy schedule and I'm blessed," and all those things. But guess what? You can be blessed, but you can be strategically exhausted at the same time. And so, what this conversation we're having today is really getting you to see that resting and really pouring from a space of fullness and rather than a place of emptiness is really your birthright, right? And so, yeah, we may wear our busyness like a badge of honor. We may push through it. We keep going. We say, I'm fine, but guess what? We're nothing but fine in those situations. Okay. So here's the reality, my friends. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. You can't pour from an empty cup. And here is my example, right? You cannot pour from an empty cup. If I tell you to give me something and you're literally empty, guess what? You will give people nothing. Okay. Give people nothing. So you can't pour from an empty cup. Okay. I want y'all to say that with me. I cannot pour from an empty cup. Or with ourselves, we are the vessel. So in this scenario, we're going to say we cannot pour from an empty vessel. So before we go any further, I really want to do a pulse check. I want to check in with you. So in the chats, I want for you to share with me. Share with me. Okay. Are you listening? Are you listening? I want you to share with me one word: empty, halfway, or overflowing. Empty, halfway, or overflowing. Are you, or where is your cup right now? Excuse me. Where is your cup right now? Is it empty? Is it halfway full? Or is it overflowing? Where are you at right now in this stage of your career journey? Or just in life in general? Empty, halfway full, or overflowing? Where is your cup right now? Take like a second or two to think through that. Okay, so hopefully you are thinking through that. And while you do, we'll go to the next slide. So, mindset shifts number one. So, my friends, when you think about going from exhaustion to overflowing, there is a mindset shift that has to take place. Or when you think about pouring from an empty cup versus pouring from a full cup, there is a mindset shift that has to take place within yourself, okay? Or within the vessel that you are living in. And so let's talk about it. The first mindset shift. Many of us, we were raised on the idea of I give until I'm empty and then I recharge. Okay. So, like it says in the old mindset, I give until I'm empty and then I recharge. But that mindset is exactly what leads to burnout. That mindset, my friends, is exactly what leads to resentment. And that mindset, my friends, is the mindset that leads to emotional fatigue. Emotional fatigue. And the shift. Here's the shifts that we all have to make if we're trying to go from exhaustion to overflow. The mindset shift is I only give from my overflow. What's inside the cup is for me. What flows over the rim is for the world. Okay. So again, I only give from my overflow. What's inside the cup is for me. What flows over the rim is for the world. So, as you see in the new mindset, as it says on the slide, this results in sustainable impact. Sustainable impact, something that you can sustain, something that you can build continuity around, something that you can, a mindset that you continuously have and build healthy habits around and not have resentment around it, right? So here you see the old mindset versus the new mindset, and we're trying to get to that new mindset, okay? And so when you pour from an empty cup, you give out of obligation. How many of y'all have done that before? When you pour from an empty cup, you give out of obligation. And so when you pour from a full cup, you give out of abundance. You give out of abundance. And that's when your impact is the greatest, right? So let's go back to the shift. It says, or the new mindset. I only give from my overflow, right? I only give from my overflow. And so when you break that down, when you pour from a full cup, you give out of abundance, which is the overflow, okay? And that's when your impact is the greatest because that's when you have the most energy. That's when you are full. You are truly operating from a place of abundance rather than a place of scarcity. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. Okay. But if you are watching now and you are agreeing with this, I want you to type in the chat, I agree. I agree. I agree with this. I agree that I officially need to go or have a new mindset versus the old mindsets, right? I need to go from exhaustion to overflow. And in order to do that, my friends, we have to adopt this new mindset. And like it says at the title, mindset shift number one, the source of the poor. The source of this pour of the new mindset is the overflow. You're pouring from a place of abundance. You're pouring from your overflow. Okay? Overflow. And you're not giving out of obligation, you're giving out of abundance. Okay? All right. So let's go to the next slide. So, mindset shifts number two, my friends, is perception of the cup. Perception of the cup. So, mindset shift number two is all about how to see your cup, how to see your cup, how to envision your cup, how to look at your cup here, right? How to look at it. Okay, as you see, it's a cup that I have in my hand. It's a cup that looks like it can hold about 12 ounces in here. So it's a cup that has a space of capacity, right? And so when we look at the old perspective versus the new shift that we're trying to get to, what do you see? What do you see in the differences of the cups? Let's talk about it. We've heard the phrase half empty or half full, but I want to offer a new perspective. A new perspective, my friend. So the new perspective is stop focusing on what's missing. Mm. Stop focusing on what's missing and start identifying what's leaking. And start identifying what's leaking. So sometimes the problem isn't that you don't have enough. It's not that. The problem is that your energy is leaking out through stress. Your energy levels are leaking out due to clutter, due to overcommitment, or people who drain you, or what I like to also call people bondage, meaning you're people pleasing. And because you are a people pleaser, you are being drained mentally, you are being drained physically, meaning your energy is depleting and your cup is leaking. The cup you're supposed to pour from is leaking because of the stress, the clutter, the overcommitment, and the people bondage or the people who drain you. And so a scarcity mindset keeps you in survival mode. So, like it says here on the slide, half empty versus half full. I'm focusing on what's missing and how much more I need to feel. And so, the insight here, my friends, is scarcity equals depletion. So, that scarcity mindset, it keeps you in a survival mode and it keeps you depleting. Depleting. And so you can literally deplete unconsciously. But I'm bringing it to your awareness today that that scarcity mindset, it keeps you in that depletion phase. Okay. And that's somewhere we don't want to be. And so an abundance mindset helps you invest the energy you do have in ways that actually nourish you. And so in the new shift, we see that it states, I stop focusing on what's missing and start identifying what is leaking. And so the insight here, my friends, is that abundance equals investment. Abundance equal investment. Investment in what? Investment in you, investment in yourself. And so if you go even further into the graphic, you'll see how energy is draining. And so you're leaking here. But when you identify the leaks and what is causing you to leak, leads to preservation and abundance. Okay. Preservation and abundance. Therefore, you're no longer pouring from a cup that is being depleted, that is being emptied out, but you're pouring from a cup that is preserved. Therefore, once it's preserved, you can then experience the abundance in your energy levels, experience the abundance in like your career endeavors and all of those things that you're trying to go after within your career journey. Okay. All right. And so down here on the bottom, not sure if you can see it, but it does say shifts from worrying. You're going to be shifting from worrying about volume to managing the vessel's integrity. You're going to be shifting from worrying about volume to managing the vessel's integrity, to your vessel, to doing things with integrity. Okay. All right. So the perception of the cup, it matters. All right, so now let's go to the next slide. All right, so now let's get into strategies on how to really pour from an empty cup, right? Because that's what we really want to know about. How can we strategically pour from an empty cup? So, strategy number one, my friends, is the non negotiable morning deposit. The non negotiable morning deposit, meaning there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I need to do this in the morning so that I can then have a better day, start the day off great, and all those things. Okay. And so now let's get practical. Let's get into the practical steps on how you can start to shift how you are thinking about going from exhaustion to overflow. So, strategy number one is what I call the non negotiable morning deposit. Before you check email, before you scroll on social media, before you respond to anyone else's needs, make a deposit into your own cup. I'm going to say that again. Before you check email, before you scroll your social media, before you respond to anyone else's needs via text or anything, make a deposit into your own cup, meaning nourish yourself. Nourish yourself. And it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be an hour or two, right? It could just be for 15 minutes. You deserve that. You deserve at least 15 minutes, my friends, okay? So, prayer is the number one thing I want you to do. We, as busy professionals that are focusing on being servant leaders, that are focusing on serving not just the people within our work or colleagues and our boss, but of course, we focus on work for the Lord, okay? And so, first and foremost, we want to pray in the morning, meditate on the word, journal our thoughts. What are you thinking about? Like, get your thoughts out because whatever you're thinking could definitely be stress weighing on you. And so, you just want to get your thoughts out on paper, get your thoughts out on the note section of your phone or wherever you like to journal, right? And then do some stretching, do a little stretch in the morning, and just overall, you can sit in silence, right? Sit in silence. But whatever you decide to make time for yourself within that 15 minutes, do it. Do it. This isn't about perfection, it's about priority and making sure that you prioritize your needs, okay? Prioritizing you because you are a priority, right? You are a priority. And once you prioritize yourself, you then choose to start your day. You choose to start your day by choosing yourself. Choosing yourself. And that, my friends, is really how you're going to start to be pouring from a full cup. So you send a message to your mind when you start to choose yourself in the morning, and you send a message to your body and your spirit. And so you say I matter, you say my needs matter, and you say my peace matters, right? My peace matters. My peace matters. And that, my friends, is the start of a wonderful way on how to shift from going from overexhaustion to overflow, and how, and this is a really immediate strategy that you can start to implement tomorrow. Wake up just for 15 minutes. You can pray, meditate, journal, stretch, be silent, whatever you choose to do, but just remember to prioritize you. And when you do, you say to yourself in your mind, to your mind, I matter, my needs matter, and my peace matters. Okay. All right. So let's go to strategy number two, the power of the graceful no. Mm. How many of you have a hard time saying no? Hmm? Have you ever had a hard time saying no? Did you know that no, N-O, is a sentence? Did you know that? No is an actual sentence. And so let's talk about it. Strategy number two is the one that many of us struggle with, the graceful no. The graceful no. So every time you say yes to someone else, you're saying no to something in your own life. You're saying no to your rest, you're saying no to your time, you're saying no to your peace. So here's a tool you can use immediately, and it's called the 24-hour rule. The 24-hour rule. So when someone asks you for something, simply say, let me check my capacity and get back to you tomorrow. I'm gonna say that again. When someone asks you for something, simply say, let me check my capacity and get back to you tomorrow. And when you say though that simple phrase, this gives you a space to breathe. It gives you space to think. It gives you a space to make a decision that honors your energy instead of reacting out of guilt or pressure, right? Again, we just talked about how when we experience leaks in our cup, we experience the leak of people bondage or people pleasing. And when we make decisions out of reacting out of guilt or pressure, that's exactly what we're focusing on. We're focusing on pleasing people. And we got to get off of that track and get on the track of prioritizing ourselves, right? Before we make any decision. So I call it the 24-hour rule. You're going to say, let me check my capacity when people simply ask you to do something and get back to them tomorrow. Or maybe even not tomorrow, but get back to them throughout the week, right? Because just like them, you're busy too. You have things going on, you have a full schedule. And so you want to honor your schedule, you want to honor yourself in doing the things in your schedule. And a lot of that takes time and it takes energy. And in order to do that, we got to start pouring from a full cup. And in order to pour from a full cup, we have to start doing what? Honoring our time, and giving ourselves space to breathe, think, and make a decision that honors our energy instead of reacting out of guilt or pressure when people ask us to do something. So that's called the graceful no, my friends. I hope that you will definitely implement that strategy very quickly. Okay. You can definitely implement that today. I'm pretty sure there is someone that may ask you for something, whether it's in your career journey, whether it's from a business perspective or just life in general. You can use that simple strategy in all areas of your life. Okay. All right. So let's go to strategy number 3. And this is audit your energy levels. You're going to audit your energy levels. So what does that mean, my friends? Strategy number 3, what does audit your energy level or energy leaks mean? Excuse me. What does audit your energy leaks even mean? So imagine your cup. Imagine your cup. Inside the cup, there are things that fill you. Things like joy, things like rest, things like creativity, things like connection. These are all the things that fill you, okay? That fill you up. So outside the cup are the leaks. They are the leaks, okay? And in this scenario or in this graphic here that we have, these are the leaks. It's toxic obligations or toxic notification. There's clutter. There's the mental clutter. There's draining relationships, notifications everywhere, overcommitment. There's perfectionism. It could be so many things, but those are just a few examples outside the cup or of the leaks. Those are the leaks that we have identified, right? So this is why it's called audit your energy leaks. So what I want you to do is literally draw a circle later today. Draw a circle and label what's inside and what's outside. What's inside again are things inside the cup, are things that you enjoy to do. Those are the things that fill you up, like the joy, the rest, the creativity, the connection, and the things outside the circle are the ones that are the leaks. Okay. And so here's one small step you can take right now: mute one group chat. I know you're part of a lot of group chats, possibly. So I want you to mute at least one. Or you can unsubscribe from 3 junk emails. Unsubscribe from 3 junk emails. And small actions actually plug the small leaks. And small leaks add up. They add up and they start to drain you or deplete you, like we talked about. So we need to make sure that we are doing those things. I gave you two things that you could do immediately on how to audit your energy leaks. Draw the circle, do that exercise. What's inside is what fills you up, what's outside is what is leaking. And then steps you could take like right now as we are speaking is mute one group chat and or unsubscribe from at least 3 junk emails. Okay. All right. So let's go to strategy 4. So strategy 4 is schedule blank space. Schedule blank space. And this is absolutely one of my favorites. High achievers, such as yourself, love a full schedule or a full calendar, but rest is not optional. Mm, I had to say that again. We love all the things. We love to do, have a full schedule. We love to be booked. We love to help people and put those things on our schedule. But rest, my friends, it's not optional. It's not optional. So I want you to block 30 to 60 minutes on your digital calendar and label it deep rest or buffer. Okay. Deep rest or buffer. And here's the rule that time is unmovable. Don't try to rearrange a time that you selected or you have prioritized for you to rest. Okay, for you to really just rest or decompress. Okay, it's unmovable. Don't move it. Okay, don't rearrange it. If someone asks for it, unless it's an emergency, like if it's a really pressing emergency, yes. But in normal circumstances, do not move it. Don't be tempted. It'll be tempting. I'm sure it will be. But do not move it. Okay. And blank space is not laziness. It's not laziness. So if someone asks for it, meaning if someone asks for that space or that time that you have already prioritized for you for your deep rest or buffer, you are previously booked. Just say those things. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm booked already. And you're booked for you. You are booked for you. At that time, you are prioritizing you. And as high achieving professionals, listen, like I said, blank space is not laziness, it's leadership. This is how you start to lead. And no, we're leading people, we're leading in our organizations. But one thing we lack on how to lead is ourselves. And in order to do that, we have to do these things strategically and put these things in place. Okay. So I really want to challenge you to put some blank space for you on your calendar. It's really how you protect your creativity. It's how you protect your clarity. It's how you protect your capacity. It's how you protect your overall well being. Okay. And that, my friends, is so important. And so definitely let me know how you are implementing on this strategy. Okay. All right, so I gave you 4 solid strategies on how to pour from a full cup instead of an empty cup. And so right now we're going to do like a interactive reflection. So before we close, I want to bring this back to you. What is one thing, just one, that you will do in the next 24 hours to plug a leak in your cup? What are you going to do to plug a leak in the cup? You can type it in the chat. You can send me an email about it. You can write it down in your journal. Even if you don't want to share it, write it down somewhere so that you can see this is what I have to do immediately, meaning within the next 24 hours, to plug a leak in my cup so that I can start to pour or give from a place of abundance instead of giving from a place of scarcity. So when we give from a place of scarcity, that's when we give it from a cup that's leaking and draining and depleting. But when we give from a place of abundance, that's when we're starting to give from a cup that is full, that is going to be overflowing, okay? Overflowing. And so this is your commitment to yourself, and sharing it creates accountability and community. So I'm encouraging you to share in the comments, or I'm encouraging you to share with people that are going to be holding you accountable for doing these things, okay? So I'll give you a moment to reflect and respond. But hey, it's really you that needs to respond to you on this one. So I hope that you do this within the next 24 hours, and I guarantee you that it'll make a world of a difference, or at least starts to make a world of a difference on how your energy levels and how you lead and how you want to go about doing going about pursuing, excuse me, your career goals. Okay, you'll start to see your energy levels rise. You'll start to see how you got a little bit extra pep in yourself. You'll start to see that, oh, yes, I can prioritize reading the word and prioritize getting rest and prioritize myself in doing what I got to do. Okay. All right. So, as we wrap, I want to leave you with this: self care is not a luxury, it is a prerequisite for leadership. Mm, Let me say that again. Self care is not a luxury, it is a prerequisite for leadership. So you cannot lead, love, or serve, or be that wonderful servant leader that you want to be from a place of depletion. Mm-mm. Don't work like that. You deserve to live from overflow, from overflow. Okay. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself. And thank you for choosing to pour into your own cup today. Okay. I did a post earlier, and the post was simply saying that you showed up, and that's a win. You showed up, and that's a win. So when you implement these strategies, that's you showing up for you prioritizing you, and that simple implementation of a strategy on how to really start pouring from a full cup, that is a win. That is a win. And you deserve a round of applause for choosing you. So if you have any questions or anything that you would like to share, definitely meet me in the chat. Email me, share with me your good takeaways and what you're going to implement strategically and immediately right away. Okay. I would love to know your outcomes and how this definitely help you move the needle from going from exhaustion to overflow within your career journey, within your business journey, and just within life in general. Okay. All right. Thank you for your time. And most importantly, thank you for choosing you. Okay. Have a wonderful day.